Hello everybody, this is my presentation on how to get kids to realize their norms. This is for EDL 852. Before I begin, I have to tell you if for some reason, if I sit too long on a slide, it takes a little bit for the slide to move to the next one. So if I pause for a little while, I apologize. This, um, what I'm going to do here is basically go through each characteristic and then explain my bullet points, and then a few of them I'll explain my graphics because they can get kind of confusing. But this building relationships is understanding backgrounds is very, very important. Um, you need to understand that each person, each child, each teacher even come to school with different backgrounds and come with different baggages. That understanding that is the best way to break through that learning barrier for each kid. Effective communication for each kid, that goes from in the classroom and out of the classroom, understanding the best way to talk to them, and outside of the classroom, the best way to communicate with them. Each kid is different right now. Right now, I'm currently in a situation where I'm trying to communicate with a kid, but my only way of communication is through the father, and he is with his mother all summer. So, no idea how he's doing, or what he wants to participate in this summer athletically. That last one, that 3 to 7 short fact for understanding on a personal level. 3-7. I don't know. Ooh, I apologize. I do not know if that's what it's actually called. But what I personally do with people who I do not have a great relationship with, students and colleagues, is in a say three facts in a 7 day period. So what that means is you're stating a fact. You are not necessarily saying a positive or negative feeling about it. You're just simply stating three facts. And that could be walking by them in the hallway and saying, "Hey, I heard you got an A on your math test," or "Hey, I heard you going out for volleyball." That is simply giving them the opportunity to have that conversation with you and to build that relationship. And if they say yes or no and then keep walking, try again the next day. Okay, sorry. Okay, so relevant learning. Apply learning to their background, apply to their environment, to their interests, and to their needs, and to their wants. Now, real quick on environment and background. Everyone's environment in that moment is generally the same, but their background can be what they perceive their environment to be, either a safe or a non-safe place. So understanding that background to be able to teach their environment, because they may not be seeing it the same way as the kid next to them. Their interests, try to get their interests involved in what you are teaching, not their specific interests, because if they only wanted to learn about their interests, they'd probably just learn about Fortnite all day. So you can't do that. And learn their needs and finding their needs. And they may not want that. They may not understand it's a need, but make sure you do it. Find their want. Teachers, all of us teachers got into it, and I guarantee you the majority of us would say because of the kids and that we love kids and want to help kids. Um, so that's the majority of our wants. Their want may be different, and understanding their background could help us understand their want. And if we can find why and what they're there for, then it could help us again break that barrier of learning. There it goes. Okay. Allowing time. Work that means something should be deep learning, even if it takes time. That is was said by a very, very wonderful man. His name is me, and I said it just now. Terrible joke, but that's all right. Okay. Deep rather than broad. Basically, what that means is getting something they're interested in or getting what they're learning, have them understand that on that deep rooted core level rather than just skimming the top, getting to a test, and being done. And that relates to my next one saying teaching for understanding rather than to test. Now, I think education as a whole is finally getting away from that um, teach to the test mentality, and teachers are kind of getting back to their passionate learning side, which is good because especially we have wonderful administrators here in Solomon, and they do say don't teach towards the um, Kansas test that they make us take every year, and our test scores have never been higher because of that. But yes, teaching for that understanding rather than to test. Proper timing, understanding that all people connect dots in different sequences. The hardest part for me is to allow them to learn in a different way. In other words, I may have a set of guidelines set out, and if they don't follow that specific, we'll still get the answer. It bothers me, but they're not wrong. So I'm just allowing that person to struggle and to fail, which we'll get into next, is very important to a new learner and to a young kid. It's not matter what path you take as long as you end up at the proper destination. But yes, connecting those dots, end up at that destination. Everyone else is at. Time for play. This is, excuse me. This is the most important one to me personally. Um, Allow time for exploring. Failing is the best lesson. Fail forward. What should we do next? Now, I'm going to explain those here in a second, but why I have this graphic here, this baby, is I think of while I have that one there is I think of my just turned 1-year-old son who, to him, throwing food on the floor and smushing up blueberries and things are not failures. But as parents, new parents especially, we feel like we've failed in feeding our kid. But to him, he's learning from that. He's learning different textures and all part of his development processes. Now, allowing time for exploring, and that goes back to that baby. I mean, allowing kids to research things on their own, what they want to learn about. Failing is a great lesson. To fail forward, and that goes down to that question. Failing forward is tried something, you failed. Instead of quitting, you ask, what should we try next? You don't look at failure as a negative thing. You never really should. I mean, there's always things you can learn from failure. And kids these days don't really seem to understand that as well as they should, and it's partially due to parents and to adults. Practice. Get every student to master. Get to the test. Get to the test and never touch back on subjects. Now, I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying relating that back. I'm saying that that's what we should not be doing. We need to relate past to present and go from there. I mean, again, we're getting out of that mentality, which is a good thing. That getting out of that teach the test mentality, and again, that's a good thing. Um, Allowing choice in learning, allowing choice in what and how, giving students a sense of ownership in their learning. I know that we are required to teach certain things, especially with standards, but getting them to what are we doing this for and how can we do this. You may provide the subject, but you can relate that what we're doing it for and how they can learn it, because again, everyone learns differently. Giving students, and that gives students a sense of ownership in learning. Authenticity. Why are we learning this? Sorry. Why are we learning this? You can insert your own teenage complaining voice to spark interest. You need to spark interest in the students and show significance to their individuality. What I mean by that is, like I said, every student learns differently. Everybody is their own individual person, and everyone has their own interests as an individual person. And to know that is to know your student, like we had on previous slides. So sparking their interest by teaching to their individuality is important. Challenge students. Cannot forget about the higher tiered learners. What I find myself doing is spending so much time on those kids who have more trouble in the classroom than the kids who don't. And what the fault there is not challenging those older or those kids who have easier time in the classroom. I need to get better at that personally, providing things for them that can challenge them while still bringing up those kids who have a little bit of trouble in the classroom. Find where students are at and they're learning. That again is just knowing the individual person. Kids will always rise to the bar you set, and I firmly believe that. You can set whatever standard, and those kids may complain and gripe, but you can get them to do it, and they will. Application to the outside world. I'm never going to use this. I'm sure you all have a kid in class right now that you can put a face to that quote. So how is it being used currently? Everything that you teach is being used in the world currently. How they could use it in the future, you need to find that just so they have a sort of purpose. One thing that I told students, and it really did work, is just, you're trying to develop their mind, and even if you don't think you're going to use it in the future, it may spark an interest in your head for a future career. You never know. And if they don't have an interest in it, maybe it's sparking their neighbor. You never know. These are my references. I hope you all have a great day. I really enjoyed this assignment mostly because I could relate it to myself a lot more and to kids that I currently have or have had in the last couple of years. I hope you all have a wonderful day.